welcome back to the Blerd Brain Podcast, Blerd Brain and Friends Podcast. It's another amazing session with another amazing guest where blackness meets the... Screw that. I'm going to start over because I screwed up my own tagline. Welcome to the Blerd Brain Podcast, another Blerd Brain and Friends Podcast with another amazing guest. This is the Blerd Brain where blackness meets the multiverse, where son of a bitch, it's not blackness meets the multiverse. Welcome back to another episode of the Blerd Brain Podcast, Blerd Brain and Friends Podcast, as we have another amazing guest. It's the Blerd Brain where melanin meets the multiverse, where blackness meets the beyond. I am your host, Mo Betta, and we have an amazing guest, a fellow Hamptonian. This is now the third Hamptonian we've had on, not including myself, and we probably just gonna continue because I mean, who else? I'm saying, why not start at the top of the mountain? Who starts at the bottom?
Right.
You know, I do have my next guest is from Morgan, but you know.
They're the cousins over there. You know, they still invited to the cookout now.
They all right. She loves Ninja Turtles, so it's cool. She doesn't like Raphael. She's just Donatello, but we'll talk about that another time. Yes, my guest is an esteemed Hamptonian, an esteemed member of the greatest fraternity on the face of the earth. And I'm gonna just let y'all chew on that for a second. And my brother in at least 5 or 6 or 7 other ways, brother from another mother, Mr. Chazz G. I don't know if he wants me to give his government. Mr. Chazz.
What's going on? Thanks for having me, Mo. My name is Chazz Gilbert, Onyx 6, Hamptonian, brother of, again, as previously stated, the greatest fraternity in the world, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated.
Indubitably.
Smooth operator, just your regular guy from Atlanta. You know, you got rep the A, always repping the A. You know, we rock red and black all day.
Indeed. I heard that. That red and black. We're gonna get into that.
We'll get that later.
Some of our viewers may know what that's about, but we'll talk. We'll chat on that another time. But today's topic, as you all know, every day is multi-topic. It's conversational, but we do have a track that we want to get to. The major message I'm going to save to the end, but as we do with every show, it's tradition. We got to have a hot seat moment. So we're just going to have a hot seat moment. I did not give him this question prior to, because quite frankly, I came up with it and I wrote my own notes because I didn't want to get off. But what this is going to be is your top 5. If there was a world war right now in the Marvel Universe, all the Marvel Universe, you can pick Earth 616, Earth 1620, whatever part you pick. If there was a world war of all characters, who are your top 5 that's making it out alive? I have mine, but I'm gonna leave it to you.
Oh, top 5 is making it out alive across all the Marvel universes.
So initially I was gonna say non-cosmic, but you can leave the cosmics in. You can do the cosmics.
Yeah. Geez. Well, first off, and I got, you're gonna like this one. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna save that one for last. First, I'm gonna say Wanda Maximoff is gonna make it.
Okay, I can get with that.
Yeah, Wanda's gonna make it. I'm gonna say, honestly, Franklin Richards will as well.
That's on my list.
Gotta say Franklin Richards. Who else? You gotta have a mastermind and a tactician, right? Mm-hmm. So you gotta with that. I gotta give it to BP, Black Panther.
Okay.
You gotta give him that.
Okay.
Who else? You know what? The Hulk is gonna survive because the Hulk can survive anything, right?
Which Hulk? I mean, I guess it doesn't technically matter, but you got a few to pick from.
Okay, you know what? Truthfully, if I can get him on my side, I'm gonna go with Savage Hulk.
Okay.
All right. What's that, 4?
That's
Yeah.
4. Yeah.
Okay, and bottom line, Wolverine, he's always
I
going to
mean,
survive.
come on, man.
He's always going to survive, bruh. I mean, just everything about him, he's going to survive it. So
Dude, I mean, I literally I have no bias. I have no bias whatsoever. And our guest disappeared. Dang it. Oh, there he is. Okay. You breaking up a little bit. Oh, I got you. No. Take it if you need to.
message.
All to the good. To the good. I can cut that part.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he's gone.
So sorry about that.
Hey man, ain't no apologies. That's way more important than what we talking about, man.
No, they left out of town. They left out of town today. So what's up?
I said, oh, word.
Yeah, they went to South Carolina, and I'm like, like I'm like, okay, I told them, like, I'm doing this thing. Started at 8. Chill.
Right.
Chill.
Well, so and I'll let the so this is the part where we'll cut back in. So we had a quick technical difficulty. It took us about an hour to figure this thing out because I mean we're trying to work it the best we can with what we have, and my goal is always to try to find the free. So Zencaster just wasn't Zencasting. We tried Zoom, we tried Google Meet, we tried StreamYard, et cetera, and we finally landed on Riverside. Next week it might be something else. But
you know what? The thing we didn't try, a cup and a string.
A cup and that might be the next show I have might be a cup and a string. Now my guest is in California, so that's gonna be some long string.
Hey, we can make it happen.
We're gonna make it do what it do. But you gave your 5.
Yeah.
So my 5, and I'm not gonna do them in order. I was gonna do them in order, but I'm not.
Dylon.
I'm going Immortal Hulk. Because I didn't say necessarily heroes. I just because Immortal Hulk. Wait, no, I'm sorry. Immortal Hulk is a hero. I'm thinking of the one below Hulk. Either one of them, because one below Hulk is obviously evil. Either one of them, I put them there. Thor, but All Father or Odin Force Thor. Because I mean, he's a bad boy. Franklin Richards.
Yeah.
I put Silver Surfer because initially I wasn't gonna say Cosmic. Yeah, initially I wasn't gonna say Cosmic. If I gotta switch one out to not go Cosmic, I'm gonna put Century in there for Silver Surfer, and then Wolverine.
I got one for you. You know who? You know what? I don't know if it should be an honorable mention or if I need to replace him. You know what? I'm gonna have to pull a replacement. I was talking about Wanda might be in there, but I got to go with what was it? The old man Luke Cage, where the Golden Age Luke. Yeah, I got.
He's a Void, Hulk, Khonshu, and Iron Fist. The power of all them.
Yeah, like that. Right. You know what they. Yeah.
You're right. It's too many, and I knew asking the question that 5 was not enough, and it's too many characters to just do 5. But I figure, what the hell. By the way, we can curse on this thing because we can do it. So just understand.
Bet. But that me like language.
So yeah, man, we like I said, there are definitely topics that we can get to with regard to Marvel, and I think I knew early on, knowing you in college, that we shared that. I can't remember exactly when it was, but when you said something about comic books, and that was just it. We shared that bond with comic books, comic book characters. I know we have our different things we like anime. I'm trying to get into anime. I need some. I'm gonna need some help and assistance, like with which ones to pick. But
let me interrupt you real quick with that. Yeah. So the question with the anime is like, how far do you want to go? Do you want like an in-depth story that goes from, across multiple episodes, or you kind of look for a one and done? Do you want something more comical? Do you want something where you become attached to characters? That's the question.
I think I want for now, with me starting one and gun, like I've had a lot of suggestions. People give suggestions, but then it's just like with me with Marvel. When they start explaining it, they then go into this long diatribe because they're excited about it that I can't follow because I've never seen it. So like I've heard somebody said Death Note, somebody said what is the Academia
My
something?
Hero Academia.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I'm getting a lot of the stuff too from Fortnite. I'll see Fortnite characters like, oh, that's anime, but I don't know anything about them.
Well, I got back into like anime like when I was a kid when like the first Dragon Ball came out, right? And I was kind of watching that, I'm like, oh, this is cool. And lo and behold, you might even not even really consider this, but look at your Voltrons, right? The original
Yeah.
Voltron, where you had these the original anime from the 80s and stuff like that. Where you get into anime movies from back in the day, Fist of the North Star, oh God, I'm drawing blanks right now, Trigun, all this other stuff. But as I've gotten older, I'll get into anime that has more adult themes to it. I was talking to my son Sean, and we both got into watching Attack on Titan, and it was good. And you get attached and invested with the characters. And I ain't gonna hold you. You're watching that thing, and you get like people are surviving. Next thing you know, boom, somebody got splattered against a tree, and you had like developed an attachment to them,
Yeah.
and you feel some kind of way. Anime can do that, but I think what's funny is that Black people really now are beginning really to get into anime because it was seen as the not cool thing to do,
Exactly.
and whereas now we're looking at
Excuse
like,
me while I move Wolverine real quick. Excuse me while I move Wolverines real quick. Go ahead. I need a little more space. Go ahead.
You have a little bit more space. I got you. But no, I think we're getting into a space where, well, not just getting into, we are creating our own space.
Yeah.
We're creating a space where people are comfortable exploring these things that are necessarily outside of sports, outside of music, the things that the Black community is traditionally known for. We're creating spaces where we feel comfortable and we don't seek approval from anybody else.
Right.
So
right. That is the exact point of the Blerd Brain Podcast and other podcasts like it. Even like, and again, some things that I haven't delved into yet, and I'm trying to research the reason, and it's just because I thought, oh well, people will look at me like what is it called, cosplay. Like I don't necessarily have a huge desire to cosplay, but like it's cool, and I can imagine a lot of people. You see it younger and younger every year, which is a good thing because people are more. It's more, I guess, accepted, but there's also this thing of kind of like what you hit on. Whether accepted or not, there's also, I think, with these newer generations, as much as we put on negatively these newer generations, they are also a lot less caring about what other people think. So it's a lot more, in high school, they're going to cosplay and doing their little Instagram and now it's like you said, now it's cool. Now it's cool to do. When me reading my comic books, I wouldn't do it at school. I'm doing it,
right.
When the dudes come over, it's like, what do y'all want to do? Let's play football in the street, which was fun too. But I might want to sit down and read an X-Men classic every now and again. I might want to, pop a comic book over and talk about it. But because it, like you said, because at that age it wasn't cool, but also as being Black, it wasn't expected from us. So we felt like we had to stay in the lane. We had to talk about basketball. I hate basketball. We had to talk about football. I don't hate basketball, but I'm not good at it. I never was.
Well, I think like it's the same. Like honestly, I've been a creative my whole life. Like I've been involved in TV and video since I was 14. So it was one of those things where, oh, you're a nerd because you know how to do all this. I'm like, well, you know what? Being that nerd at 14 led me to where I am at 43, and I got this booming career. So
exactly,
be yourself. If anything, that's a testament to just be who you really are. Be yourself. Do the things that you like to do. Improve on them, and make it work for you.
It's what, and conversations like this is what's forced me to, a lot of times like we get our information secondhand or that tribal knowledge, but it forced me to literally just look up the definition of nerd. Nerd doesn't mean I wear glasses, I'm weird, I got suspenders, I'm getting beat up in school. Nerd simply means at its most basic, I mean, you got different interpretations, but at its most basic is somebody who is very keen on and has a very specific niche knowledge of something. That's it, which will lead us later on into our end topic. But
Right.
like, you can be a nerd about cars. You can be a nerd about sports, and sports
Mm-hmm.
is not quote unquote societally. Is that a word? Societally.
Societally.
It
Yeah, you know
sounds
what
good.
I'm about.
I'm gonna run with it.
Societally.
It's not
Yeah.
societally.
Hey, there's no need to explain. You run with it.
I'm gonna run with it. Right. It's not societally thought of as nerdy, but I mean, you can be a nerd about sports. You can be a nerd about stats, etc. So that's kind of where we wanted to jump off. Your Blerd origin story, where if you can in your mind think about when did your blerdom start, what would you say it was?
Wow. So, it surfaced at the age of 4. I'm gonna start right there.
Wow.
Everybody's watching like cartoons and blah blah blah. The cartoon that I was heavy into was Transformers. The reason being, and I researched this later on in life. Optimus Prime was considered a father figure to a generation of people.
Right.
And I grew up in a single parent household, but getting those life lessons from those 80s cartoons, especially from like Optimus Prime, kind of forged my morality, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Fast forwarding to like my in elementary school, the first business I ever ran was called Charles's Comic Cakes, where I would actually like kind of just make little cutouts of comic book characters, make some cupcakes and sell them. I mean, it was hustling. I was making some money and everything, right?
Yeah.
So I was trying to buy some comic books. And I kind of like, as falling into the regular Black culture, I kind of like just kind of kept it at bay that I'm like, I'm this comic book nerd, this 80s cartoons nerd. Just kind of kept it at bay. But even though I still did other nerdy things, like I was in uh, TV club, video club when I was in college, or excuse me, in high school, which also led me to, just that being in that nerd college communications realm led me to where I am at Hampton, majoring in broadcasting communications, which led me into the current job that I have now. So that nerd bug has always been there. It's always just popped up in different. It's really really popped up in different venues and avenues. But that itch never went away. So like I would still read comics, I would still watch anime, I would still do all these things, and just out of curiosity. I mean, you'd read a comic and then you're like, oh, this is interesting. Well, let me get onto Marvel fandom, or let me get on DC fandom and kind of research it a little bit more.
Right.
And I think that quest for just knowledge, even though it may not be something usable in the world for jobs or whatever, but it's just that I want to know more. I want to know what the origin story of this, or the different universes in which how many different versions of Wolverine are there, or you go down a rabbit hole, and when you come across people, throughout your life, like I met you in school, who've also gone down that same rabbit hole. One turns into two turns into four turns into 8, and before you know, you start building a community around this one thing that everybody is like, oh no, that's a nerd, that's dumb, that's weird, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, we're all fine being here, so you don't want part of this? Cool, no, nothing to you, but we good over here.
Right.
And that's what, and building that type of tribe, I mean, it's good for the soul.
Yeah. Well, and because you don't know, and like you said, like you alluded to, you don't know what you don't know. So me knowing you, had we not had them, I mean, obviously we've had 3 or 4 different bonds over 3 or 4 different organizations, but had we not known that, our affinity for Marvel, let's say, and I keep going back to Marvel, but it's DC, it's Milestone, it's whatever, but our affinity for Marvel or whatever it could have been could be with the introduction to then we find out, oh, we also know this and this, and we also know these, we also know that. It's the feeder, and like you saying it perfectly. Them rabbit holes Like, I'm still to this day, I can, if I see a little clip, because you know how social media is not social anymore, it's selling you something. So it knows what you like, so it's going to keep sending it to you. So when I keep seeing stuff about Wolverine, or I keep seeing stuff about, Wolverine is Winter Soldier now and Ultimate Wolverine, when I see stuff, that's what it keeps sending to me, or Marvel stuff. I'll see, I can't remember the website, but it's a couple websites where they'll do their list like we did of top strongest characters, the top most magical characters or whatever. And even if I don't agree with it, 2 hours later, I find myself like, because I've researched this and I've Googled this because, I don't know this character. I thought I knew everybody. Who is this? And as much as it sometimes feel like, damn, I just wasted 2 hours. That conversation I'm sometimes having with somebody 3 and 4 days later that I didn't even know they could think that they were thinking of, especially with a platform like this. Again, I got 2.5 subscribers, but I still have conversation.
2.5 comes to 5 now. Come on now.
I'm saying the shit multiplies. So it's a positive. Like I could be talking about keys and snorting lines or whatever and coming across those people, but I'm not. So it's not necessarily that it's a waste of time or that it's nerdy. Like you said, like with mine, I'd say my origin story started at 8. It was probably before that, but from my recollection, started at 8. We living in, because I was born in shout out to Crawford Long, the old Crawford Long.
The old Crawford Long back in the day.
When I was a Red Oak Dodger, we welcome all park, etc. When we left in 88, 89, and went to Illinois, I'm in this white neighborhood, middle class white neighborhood. And I'm talking like this, and I'm yawling and everything. And they don't understand any of it.
Yeah.
And that's where like learning that code switch crap. That doesn't just happen in corporate. I learned that then, and nobody came and told me I had to speak that way. But I felt like I'm gonna be outcasted if not, because even though they're smiling at me when they keep saying, what is y'all? Why you say y'all? They're like, y'all. I'm like, everybody says y'all, don't you? And as many times as I would hear it, I would fix my mouth to say it differently, to the point where now I'm like, like I'm talking like this, and then when I come in the house, my parents are literally.
Bro, I ain't gonna let you live that one down.
Thing. They would hear me. They would hear me outside playing,
and
I come inside, and I didn't. Oh, I'm frozen. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
It's like frozen.
Oh, but you can hear me though still,
bruh. I had to screenshot this right now.
Hello?
Us connecting.
Hello? Hey, yours is frozen too.
Okay, I'm back now.
Oh, you back? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. And it's buffering. It's trying to catch up, and we're getting a little still fuzzy. Am I still fuzzy over there?
No, you good.
All right, well, let's keep it rolling.
Cool. So yeah, I would be outside in the yard playing, and we loud because we in the neighborhood. I would come in and my parents would be laughing, or my sister would be laughing, and she like, "Why are you talking like that?" I'm like, "Well, why am I talking like what?" Because now that I've come in the house, my voice changes.
Do you hear an echo? Do you hear an echo or reverb?
Nah. You can?
I'm not coming across it. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's probably because it's buffering. I was making sure it wasn't coming across wrong.
Oh, no, I'm not hearing it on my end.
Bet.
Cool. But yeah, I'd be out in the yard. My folks would hear me. My sister would hear me. I would come in, and automatically, without realizing it, the code switch would turn off, and I talk like I regularly talk. They'd be like, "Why are you talking like that outside?" I'm like, "Talking like what outside? I don't even know what you're talking about." My sister would do the same thing. She would be talking. We would drop her off with her friends, and it's like started talking like this, and then like that, like a little bit. She didn't even recognize she was doing it.
We got done that.
Yeah, we got tired of hearing, "What is y'all? Why are you talk like that?" Da 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 da. But anyway, I'm getting off the point. It's my nerd moment was sitting at my next door neighbor's house. Shout out to Alan. And I the comic books I had owned before that, I didn't really care about. Like my parents had bought them at a gas station out here off Roosevelt and Wheelie Road when I was a little kid. It was a Transformers and some other thing that I still got.
You
But
did.
but I wasn't like looking at it. It's something that they were getting me because I was talking too much. Like, here, read this. But this was I'm sitting here, he brings this white cardboard box from under his bed, and he starts flipping through when he pulls books out. I'm like, books? What are we looking at books for? Why do I got magazines in a box? What is that about? So he takes them out of this plastic thing with the cardboard. I'm like, yo, he really cares about these magazines a lot. He took it out and he handed it to me. The first one he handed me was an X-Men classic. It was the one where Peter, Piotr, and Kitty Pryde were reading to their child. They had a child in this one. They were reading a bedtime story, and then it went into the fantasy that they were reading. Anyway, that was my first real comic book. That's the first one I put in some plastic, put cardboard behind. And then right after that, he gave me a Wolverine one. It was Wolverine versus Scylla, I think. 'Cause Scylla wasn't a huge character, but I remember that one. That's what started me in my ride. That's why I'm so heavy with comic books, specifically Marvel, specifically Wolverine, because that's where it all started. And then, the toy.
Well, no, did you? So were you ever into to comic cards too?
I was. So my comic book cards, I lost all of them. I still got my baseball cards I don't even care about. I still got my basketball cards and football cards that I don't care about. My comic book cards and my more valuable basketball cards all disappeared. My Jordan, I had a Frank Thomas rookie card, Deion Sanders rookie card, etc.
I had a Deion Sanders.
All my comic book cards gone. I haven't been able to find them for like 5 years.
My comic cards are at my mom's house. I know they're still there, and they're in the binder and the little sleeves and everything. They're still all in there. I got half my comic books upstairs in my in a box right now, all packaged up nicely in little plastic with the backboard. Right. I make sure not putting like. My wife was like, "Hey, put them in the attic." I'm like, "Nah, it gets hot up there. No, we got to keep this tip. No, that ain't gonna work.
We're not doing that.
It's right there."
Yeah, so, I just bought my second box for my comic books.
But what's crazy is that it's the thing that we grew up with that was kind of shunned on, and we all kept quiet and being a nerd thing is now the it thing. It's it to be into comics and anime, and the MCU has taken over and done Marvels for the rest of the Marvel comic universe, not just the cinematic universe. It's giving rise to there are other characters out there other than your Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America. Right. It's giving rise to and I'm going to go cross comics right now, but it's giving rise to John Stewart. It's giving rise to Icon. It's giving to people that people here in these comics that look like us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they have some stories we can relate to. They just random stuff. So. You got to give a shout to the industry with also kind of not necessarily, I won't say catching up with times, but also just maintaining that these types of stories have always existed. When you look into the background of, Professor X and Charles Xavier and what it was mirrored after Malcolm and Martin, it's like they kept these ideas and these things relevant in a unique way that people across multiple communities can actually relate to.
Right. I will. So let me real quick. I don't want to divert. I will say on it because I've talked about this with multiple people, and my opinion has changed probably 3 times. The relation to Xavier and Magnus being Martin and Malcolm. So when they said it, I was like, "Yo, that makes perfect sense." And knowing how Stan Lee and I forgot the other guy. But they were about like social change and wanted, etc. But then I've seen these reports where they were like, he quoted that he didn't say that. What the quote really was? So then I went on the other side. I was like, nah, that's just convenient, but that didn't really happen. But then I thought about it like this. When I read his quote, I don't remember what magazine they said it was in, but reading his quote, he doesn't necessarily say. What he basically says is, yeah, we may have been influenced by what was going on at the time, but it wasn't about specific people. This is a dude who is trying to sell a comic book in the 50s and 60s when we are looked at as how we're looked at. So if he comes out and says, hey, this is about Malcolm and Martin. This was Malcolm and Martin. That's what it is. Does he make it? Does he continue selling those comic books?
I mean, that's business 101. Like, nah,
Right.
you know, the people right now, they got the money. Nah, they ain't gonna buy it like this, so I'm not gonna frame it as such.
Right.
But I mean, if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck.
Right. And so I had to come back because I've told people before, I was like, nah, that one was about it just happened to be. But the older I get, you know, older, wisdom, etc., and looking at it through a different lens, he wouldn't have been able to still sell his books and you know, under the covers sell this message, because those people, the main people that were buying his comic books, weren't us. Because like you said, it took a while for us to be accepted, or us to accept ourselves as, I read comic books, I do this and do this, as opposed to I play basketball or football, etc. So, you know, that wasn't really talked about a lot. And the main people buying it, who are probably still, you know, barely the majority, are white males between 18 and probably 45 or something like that.
If you look at who's really, really buying comics nowadays and really spending the money on it, it's people our age. It's people who grew up with this, who also now have the means and who have the means to really kind of invest into what it is to be into comics. I mean, you know, it's I don't know word this, like, you got kids who will read about the stuff on the internet, but how many people are actually going to go and subscribe to Marvel to actually purchase the comic book?
Yeah.
We are, our generation is. When you so when you take that into account, you know, comics nowadays, and I think this is also why more and more stories that are coming out have more of that adult theme, because it's catered to the people who are really going to buy it. That's the audience.
That's true. That's true. And to your point, I think that makes sense. So I take back what I said about the main people buying them now, because even in looking at characters like a Batman for Detective Comics, before it was DC, when it was just Detective Comics, he wasn't breaking no legs and killing, and he was just, you know, fluke-de-doo. He was, I'm gonna tie you in a rope and wait for the police to come.
Bro, we had Adam West and Burt Ward as Batman and Robin in the 60s. I mean, let's just be honest. Oh, it's like, I got my bat spray.
Right.
Bro, that ain't gonna fly today. But
yeah. Yeah, no, it definitely, I think partially it's trying to get a bigger grasp of a larger audience, but it's also, you know, violence, pain, drama, sex, all of it sells. So putting more of it in these, and like you said, I think they realize kids aren't going to the comic book store anymore. Adults are going to the comic book store. Kids are, I can Google it, or I'm gonna go play Fortnite, or which ain't nothing wrong with that either. But it's not the feeling of going into I liken the feeling of going into a comic book store the same to, as a musician, walking into Sam Ash. I'm not gonna buy nothing. I can't afford to buy. I can't play the bass. I can't afford to play the bass. But I want to go in there and hear somebody playing the bass, right? I want to play the drums a little bit until the real drummer comes in, so I can act like I was just messing around and get out of there and not embarrass myself. But it's just the being around all of that. So, you hit on, you know, we both hit on, you know, us being at Hampton, or rather prior to Hampton, kind of the different levels of, okay, now this is acceptable. Being at Hampton, being at the HBCU, being a Blerd at the same time, what was that experience like for you? And then I'm going to tell you first, my story, and I'm not trying to embarrass you, but I'm going to tell you about you. I'm going to tell them about you.
Oh boy.
It is the dude. The dude at Hampton University. You know what I mean? The upper echelon of, not HBCUs, the upper echelon of all collegiate universities, colleges and universities. But you at Hampton, you know, we are, a lot of us, like, and I'm gonna put you in this too, but tell me if I'm wrong. A lot of us were in, you know, predominantly white middle schools, predominantly like high schools. So we would come back to our family and we get that experience, but coming to Hampton was like, it was the biggest breath of fresh air because I wasn't the minority anymore.
Right.
And the biggest discussion I get into with black folks that went to PWIs, it's cool that you went there, but them trying to compare their experience or say stuff like, well, you know, I wouldn't go to a HBCU because that's not the real world. I've had enough of the real world, and I'm going to get the real world. This is the last time I get this before the real world. That almost makes it sound like because I went to an HBCU, I don't have the understanding that the real world isn't all black. I get that. I'm trying to enjoy it. But again, I'm not going to get too far off. Being at this prestigious university, these beautiful, intelligent women, these cool dudes, intelligent men, and you hear, did you have a skateboard? Was it a skateboard?
I'm like, yeah, I know where you're about to go. No, they were inline. So, backtrack a little bit. So in high school, I inline skated a lot, and it was fun. And I remember when I got to Hampton. So starting off, I started at the other HU. I made a wrong decision coming out of high school and started at the other HU.
You messed up.
I messed up, but you know what? College is a place where you learn to right your wrongs, right?
There you go.
So I righted my wrong and transferred to Hampton. And just kind of, so the type of person I am, I don't put myself out there. I get next to the circle. I observe what's going on in the circle.
Mm-hmm.
And then I figure out, because I'm a freaking, like, just well of just random shit. Mm-hmm. So I see which attributes are displayed in the circles that I'm around, and those attributes naturally come out. And
Right.
once I get comfortable, then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let these people see me a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So, I was like, I was that new transfer student, blah, blah, blah. And I was just gonna be a regular cool dude. But then summertime came around, and I was like, damn, I gotta get a job. So I started working at a tattoo parlor, shop manager and all this stuff, not necessarily doing any tattoos or piercings or anything, but working in that environment, you become the plug for stuff, just like a barber in a barber shop, right? Mm-hmm. So I networked and began to know a lot of people. I could hook people up with this, that, and the other. But also one thing that you see in a tattoo parlor is you see people who genuinely get artwork that displays them, or they do things that display who they are.
Yeah.
So I started doing something that kind of freaked out a lot of people. I think you know what I'm about to say.
Yes, I do.
I started wearing white contacts around campus.
That's where I was going.
And it was just something that, it was different, but it was small, but it was me. And everybody would be like, hey, let's do with the white contacts. Let's do with white contacts. Like, yeah, I am that dude. But then also I started finding people that were comfortable with it, and we just started hanging out. And as you alluded to earlier, started finding out we had similar interests. Like, hey, you know what? I inline skate. You inline skate. I'm into cars. You're into cars. Next thing you know, I'm out like, hey, let's modify and let's race some cars. So we're sitting here racing from Hampton to Richmond and DC and back and blah, blah, blah. And you start finding that community and that network that has that same outlook that you have. So you feel less and less like, oh, this is some nerd stuff, versus like, hey, this is just how we are. And we're good with it. So, and what's funny is that even if you have people around you who aren't necessarily into the things that you're into, they appreciate you being you for who you are and just standing 10 toes down on it. Right. And that helps, further build that bond, because for all you don't know, actually, somebody else could be slightly nervous to be who they truly are around you. But with you being you, I mean, that's just it. They feel comfortable being themselves around you as well, because they feel that you're going to accept them the same way. Right. So it's like somebody who's like, there's this little chick that I dated back in Hampton, and she was like, hey, I'm scared to get a tattoo, worried about my folks will say or whatever. I'm like, come on, I would talk to them about like, hey, let's figure out what you like what type of artistry do you like? Because, with tattoos, it's you get into the type of look that you're looking for. Do you want something to mirror this comic artist? Do you want something to mirror this painting or whatever? And you start to learn about people. And before you know it, they're like, well, hey, they're back here a week, 2 weeks later trying to get something else. But the true them is beginning to emerge, and they're comfortable around you and sharing that.
Right.
It's a beautiful thing, man.
That's 100% why I wanted to start that conversation of your feelings on that Blerd versus HBCU experience, which isn't much different from, like you said, just that being a nerd versus just the black experience, and not even versus, like, not realizing at certain ages that it can be one and the same, and feeling like it has to be separate and like we got to hide it. Like I'll say with mine, one thing and what I've always admired was that's why I brought up I was gonna bring up the white contacts and all of the piercings and I was gonna bring that up because your comfort level at that age, or I'll say at that age, at that stage in life, was so far beyond. Like with me, I won't say that I necessarily hid anything, but there's a lot that I didn't. There's a lot that I pretended to like spades. I hate spades. I don't like spades. I barely can play. Like I know the rules, but I don't like people yelling at me. Right? I get.
Yeah.
I've seen people get physical. I'm gonna get active if you start yelling at me the wrong way. We partners or not, don't yell at me the wrong way.
You're not a small dude either, so I can see somebody get loud. You're like, oh word.
Even when I was, because in college I was like this skinny. My arm was like this skinny. But I don't like big head, little body. You know what I'm saying? A lot of knowledge. But I don't like the yelling and whatever. And when it feels like I can't tell if you really mad or not, because people get really mad over that stuff. It's just to me, it's just cars. I'd rather go play video games. I would love to talk comic book stuff, but who am I going to talk with it for? So I'm gonna go to this party that I probably don't want to be at, and I'm gonna stand on the wall and try to scope out some women that I probably don't really care about because the ones I like are probably at a different party. Then again, it's Hampton. I liked all of them, but
there's so many flavors.
I liked all of them. I mean, it was Hampton, but
spoken like a noob though. That's a real noob right there talking.
I'm saying, they're all magnificent, and I mean that in the most respectful way. Hampton women, I mean that in the most respectful way. Y'all are all magnificent. They were all going to class when we were skipping class, trying to see where they were at. They were like, I'm at class at 8:00 in the morning. I'm like, 8:00? Why? Anyway.
Did you ever put your hand up to the glass and be like, nah, it's too cold to go to class. I ain't going anywhere.
Didn't even have to put my hand up. The alarm went out, and I didn't like the sound of the alarm. Like, nah, I'm good. Not today. Yeah. Not today, G. But
here's the thing. And I'll credit this as to one of the magical moments I had of having a place off campus on some nerd stuff. So this is when the Xbox really, really came out. Everybody's like, oh, I got to get the Xbox or whatever. I don't know if you came to the crib when we did this, but we managed to hook up like 4 Xboxes in my apartment, and in my bedroom, in Tiger's bedroom, in the main room, and somewhere else in the house. We had 4 different Xboxes and 4 TVs hooked up. And the thing was, it was like, hey, everybody come through. We had some girls come over that were willing to cook some food that they can get on the game. I told them, hey, you can come and you can wash do your laundry here too while we all chilling and eating and whatever. But it was like,
never get that invite.
Oh, bruh. Like it was me, Bibbs, Tiger, Seth. We had everybody at the crib, man.
Crazy. Never got. I was about to say, oh, maybe it's because I graduated, but you said Bibbs. Okay, I see. It's all coming out now. So all the truth is coming out that I just wasn't invited. I get it.
Everybody was invited.
It's all good. I was just on my little Dreamcast in the room by myself, but it's cool. It's cool. It's all good.
It might have been during the summertime. I don't know. It worked.
Sure. Yeah. Make it nice now. Make it good now. But no, man, I did want to transition into the main topic, and I left it the end on purpose, just because I know both of us are passionate about it. I'm trying to get more knowledgeable about it. You're very knowledgeable about it, and I think it's like anything in the world where you can never know too much. But I would like to get to a better space. So, as I mentioned before, for the viewers, nerd doesn't mean I wear thick glasses and I got suspenders and I wear my pants up to my belly button. It doesn't even mean I like comic books. It just means specifically I have a niche, extreme understanding of something, period. That's just it. So you can nerd out about comic books, you can nerd out about sports, you can nerd out about cars. And this particular thing, though it's a nerd hobby, I'm a hobbyist on one end, it's also, I think, a very important topic, specifically in our community, because and I'll say what it is. It's firearms, whether that's firearm safety, firearm use, um, firearm laws specifically. I know there's systemically been a fear put in, for generations to make us afraid of owning because we don't know the laws on them, or make us fearful of, well, if I get stopped with this, then I'm not supposed to have this and this and this, so I don't have them. And we can go as deep into another time into why gun control was started, right? I mean, people have their different views of gun control, but why gun control was started, same as the reason why the police were started. Police didn't always exist. That police badge was a slave catcher badge. The whole starting of gun control was not so people would be better at making sure that they were being nice with their firearms. It was so that when we come to your neighborhood and we want to take stuff over because you're self-sustained, not even hurting us, but because you're not doing what we want you to do and paying us in our economy, we're going to say that somebody got raped, and we're going to come in. And when we come in blazing, we don't want to get shot.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to make sure y'all ain't got no guns. But, I will, for those out there, I'm going to put a link of a few books. My brother's also going to give some links to some books that kind of talk about the history of gun control, blacks with guns, guns in general, guns in America, etc. But what I wanted to talk about, like I said, as it pertains to our community, some of the disillusionment, or not disillusion, that's probably not the word I want to use, but some of the falsehoods around guns, the myth around guns, and the two-way community. I think when we start talking about whether we black or white, when we in conversations I've had with black folks, I think when I first say something like two-way, their mind goes to one type of person. And the two-way community is like any other community. The two-way community, there are differences in sects within the two-way community. There are members of the two-way community that don't think that you and I should be members of the two-way community because our melanin is of a higher content.
Yep.
So, that doesn't make them not a member of the community. It just makes them wrong about the community. But, I think there's just one particular face that a lot of our people put on that, so they shun it altogether. I think my biggest pull or my biggest thing is, on one end, self-preservation and I put self-preservation, I put my family first. I call that self-preservation because my family is me.
Mm-hmm.
My kids are me. My family in general is me. But I also, I'm not a person that has, all of my guns. We don't necessarily need to say the numbers, but I'm not saying that I need all of these. The question I always hear, why do you need that many guns? I never told you I needed this many guns. I told you, what I told you is I have my carry for protection. I told you I have one of my 12 gauges for protection in the house. I told you I have my AR for protection. I told you I have my Scorpion for protection, but my 44 Magnum has absolutely no purpose, but I like it and I could afford it at the time, so I bought it. It's like we said, from a nerd standpoint, I enjoy breaking it down. I like knowing what this little itty bitty piece has to do with the rest of this gun. I like the cleaning process. It's cathartic. I like it's tedious, and don't lose one detent pin, or
God,
everything is over.
spring off somewhere.
Right, and don't have a dark carpet because it's over. But like, I enjoy those portions, but it's a lot of nuance in there. And I know I talked a lot, but your views on obviously the two-way community that you're a part of and blacks and guns, whether it's the misperception part or just us in training, or what's starting to happen, because I do see a push to us getting more knowledge.
So I think that the two-way community is it's a community that we initially weren't supposed to be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a wave when we tried to come in and be a part of this 2A community. then it turned into like, you know what? I don't need to be a part of this 2A community.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to make our own 2A community.
Right.
And with that, there's another evolution coming to where this 2A community that felt some kind of way about us being there is seeing that there are a number of us within the, I'll say it, Black 2A community that are, we're knowledgeable, we train, we're doing a lot of things that are very similar to what's going on this other side of the 2A community. And they're like, you know
Mm-hmm.
what? Some of us, let's just talk and let's just go together and let's just train together. Let's just shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I got into firearms honestly probably about 10 years ago. When I got my first gun, and it was cool. I didn't do a whole lot with it. Then I would occasionally go to an indoor range and think I'm doing something. And then a few years ago, I was just looking at stuff like, hey, I want to get another gun. At that time, I had probably like two pistols and an AR. My,
Mm-hmm.
how that has changed. Uh, but I was looking at, oh, I want to get another AR. And so I found something, and it was like, oh, this AR was like $4,000, and I'm like, bruh, why?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's that question of why, and I wanted to answer that question for myself.
Right.
So I started doing researching. I started researching as to just ARs in general. Well, why is this bolt carrier group more expensive than this bolt carrier group, and what's the special thing about it?
Mm-hmm.
Now I began just researching and just learning more because ultimately I figured, hey, you know what? I could probably build this gun for cheaper when I
Mm-hmm.
started researching stuff. So I was like, all right, cool. And most people, when they say that, they're going to build a gun, they're thinking, well, I'm going to purchase an upper and a lower from a website, slap them together, and then cool, I built something.
Right.
No, I'm
That's
talking
kind
about,
of putting it together. Yeah.
yeah, that is merely, oh, look, I just slapped something together and cool. No, a
Right.
build is taking a stripped upper and stripped lower, and you are finding every single part, every spring, every detent, and
Mm-hmm.
researching why a titanium detent is better than a regular steel detent. Or you
Mm-hmm.
start and for those of you who don't know, a detent is something the size of like a crumb.
Yes.
But
And if you
what
lose it, your life is over.
yeah, that's why you buy them in packs. And I'm talking packs like 10, 15, 20 in a pack because you're gonna
Yeah.
lose them. But
Yeah.
ultimately, you have and we are building our own space, and it comes with a lot of lessons learned throughout it. I think that you have some people who will just like buy guns and then say, hey, yeah, I got guns. There's a difference between a person who collects guns and a shooter.
Yeah.
A shooter is somebody who's going to they invest the time and the resources into training. And when you talk about in the 2A community, especially here in Atlanta, um, we don't have a whole bunch of outdoor ranges in the metro Atlanta area, but when we do find them, we get out to those that we can. More
Mm-hmm.
especially, we try to get out and support our own those Black owned gun ranges.
Drop that. Drop that one. Go ahead and do it. Drop that one.
Yeah. So like, I got to give out to Paul and ATL Gun Club. Um,
Absolutely.
they have a phenomenal outdoor range in Villa Rica.
Best I've
Um,
ever seen.
and it's something that personally I host monthly range days out there, inviting not just Black people but just anybody who's willing to just want to learn and train and shoot to just come out and shoot. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner or if you're experienced. You can always learn something. You can always
Mm-hmm.
learn drills. But this 2A community is more than just guns. It's preparation. It's
Mm-hmm.
understanding the laws. It's understanding the just what you can do to be prepared for your family's sake, for your sake. If you have to prepare for help somebody else, it's firearm safety and what to do in case somebody around you happens to be injured, and what you can do to, potentially save their life. That's what this community really is about.
Right.
Um, so I can go down a rabbit hole, but I'll put a pause on it for now because I'm passionate about it.
Absolutely. And that's why you're passionate about it because you're a nerd about it in the most positive way, because that's what nerd really is. There's something that you're passionate about, so you know it well. It's I guess you would call it niche, but that's what nerd is, which is why this segment fits so well. For me, my first firearm, I was already, well, it was my first daughter being born. I was 33, maybe 33 when Clara was born. But prior to that, anybody that knows me, you would notice, Rouse, my line brother, would notice everywhere I went, I had a knife on me. I probably had 2 or 3 on me at some point. And it wasn't like, it wasn't like it was, you did too. It wasn't like it was something happened, you know what I mean? I got, it wasn't for a particular reason, but just this mindset of, and not even control, because it wasn't like I was showing people. It was concealed, but it's just a mindset of, I don't know what could and couldn't happen, but I wasn't ready. I don't think I was mentally ready to have any kind of gun or firearm. Or it just wasn't in my sphere. My daughter was born. I was looking for suggestions like, okay, I think it's time to be able to hold down the fort, because I might feel like I got hands a little bit, but I don't have hands. I can't punch a bullet, right? I can't punch a bullet. Somebody else has got better hands than me, I'm sure. That's a million people out there with better hands. Let me be able to hold down the fort with something that can extend my reach. So, everybody I talk to is like, get a 12 gauge, get a 12 gauge. So to me, not having ever purchased guns, my thought is the bigger the gun, the more expensive, which is the complete opposite. It's the more concealable, the more expensive. So I'm like, a 12 gauge, man. I didn't even look at prices. I'm like, man, I know I can't afford it.
And reliable.
And reliable. I was like, well, yeah, you're right, because I got a couple of Tauruses that, I wouldn't go to war with them, but they were cheap. They were around the house gun. But the shotgun in my mind was like, it's expensive. When I looked at the price, I had to look. I was like, wait a minute. So you telling me for $200, and I sounded then like a lot of people sound now. $200, I can get this thing that's made for killing people and murdering, and it's so dangerous, etc. How, this is crazy. The government needs to do something. And I did, again, my mindset was, I wasn't into guns, and I didn't have a mindset to understand a lot of it. So I go to Adventure Outdoors, which, you walk in and it's like, it's redneck central, but
you were learning.
I was learning. Yeah, I won't do it again. Now, I did buy probably 3, maybe 4 firearms from there at once, but not at once, but at different times. But they were having BOGOs. I couldn't help myself. But anyway, I bought my first one. I got the Maverick 88, which is owned by Mossberg. So it's a Mossberg gun. It's a quality shotgun. It's just some cheaper materials, but nothing terrible. And I made the mistake. And just like you said, the difference between shooters and collectors of guns. I put so much crap on that gun. It was like lifting weights. I put a light. I put a optic that I didn't know how to use. I put I just put way too much on it. Then Sean had his son. I sold it to him. Bought an actual Mossberg. Put less on it. It was still a little too heavy, but put less on it. Then as time went, it still to me wasn't about, it was just about having something in the house. Then I was like, okay, well, I got something in the house, but I go places with my daughters, and I'm not going to carry a giant full-size 12 gauge with me. So what do I do when what do I do when I'm in the car? Like, all right. I was still a little iffy. I was like, having a handgun just feels, and again, it's that systemic thing that's indirectly placed in our mind of, this feels illegal, or this feels wrong, or I'm going to be looked at as a hood or whatever. I'm a grown man father taking care of my kids, wanting something to protect them. And, I hate that conversation. Well, you can't protect them with your hands. No, I can't punch bullets. And no, I want to have every advantage when it comes to my kids, because come on. But I went and bought I won a little ultralight 38, which I actually gave my dad. He has it in his golf bag now. But with that first one, it was a revolver. That's when it started to be about like the gun itself. I wanted to know, well, Why do people choose revolvers over semi-automatic? Why do people choose semi-automatic over revolver? What's the difference? What's the difference between rimfire and centerfire? Which one is better? And then it became that rabbit hole, just like the comic books. It became a rabbit hole, and I'm researching. It's not about, I wonder which one I could kill somebody with faster. It's about, I appreciate this firearm, so I'm not going to do nothing stupid with it because I appreciate both what it stands for as far as protection, but also what it could do in the wrong hands. And so many wrong hands have them, which is why I have them. So, it just became, like you said, I got more entrenched in it. Some of my firearms, I will say, I bought out of haste. Didn't need, and rarely have. I had some that I don't have 500 rounds through, and I've had probably for 12, 11 years. Just sitting around, or maybe 10 years.
Bring those out. We need you to bring those out to the range, man.
So I will be. And the thing is, a lot of them are calibers that I bought a bunch of rounds for. But so I got rounds. I just, like my 44 Magnum, I shot probably 50 rounds through that thing. But it would look cool. It was Dirty Harry. But again, these are the things those were the learning curves, because initially, when you buy that first one or that second or that third one, in my mind, some of it was like, oh my gosh, I get to buy these things that I just thought were off limits to me, and it's exciting almost to have it.
It's a rush.
Right. It's a rush. It's like, oh my God. But then once you get past that, it's like, am I going to shoot with that? When have I ever trained with that gun? Or can I get a good grouping with this gun? Or the 44 Magnum is a 6.5 inch barrel. Where am I going to carry that? The only time I've ever carried it was when I went to Amicalola Falls. They got signs up that say bears are regularly here. And that 9mm is not going to do anything to that bear if he rushes me. So a 44 mag most likely will.
Yeah.
But that's literally the only reason.
So, like, it's interesting because first off, I'll say, if you ever have a chance to walk away, walk away. I mean, absolutely. Hey, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, big dog, you got it. And it's not tuck and tail, it's living to fight another day.
Dude. I got babies. We both got babies to come home to, man.
Exactly.
I don't need to be tough. I need to be here for my kids. I don't have a problem.
Exactly.
And I don't mean to cut you off. There's been at least one situation where things were getting heated. The younger me, because the younger me wasn't carrying, might have jumped in. And you can ask Rouse. Rouse has been my savior multiple times where I might have had a little spirits in me. Somebody said something wrong, looked wrong, and I just wanted to jump. And he'd been like, dude, chill out. Miami. Anyway, we're not going to get into that.
Oh, no, but I want to cut you off real quick with that, too. And it's important to know laws. So, put it this way. Had you discharged that firearm when you weren't necessarily in fear for your life and you've been under the influence, there were multiple.
No.
Based on that. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I didn't know. I'm saying those things happened before I was carrying. So I didn't have anything on me. But then when I started carrying, there have been multiple times where something seemed like it's going to cut, and my thoughts weren't even, I knew I had it, but I knew that I was good because my thoughts weren't, okay, let me go for it. It was literally, I see this person getting loud with this person and everything looks, and I don't see an exit for myself right away. What I'm watching first, I'm watching the waistbands because they talking a whole bunch of junk, the waistbands moving around. I don't see anything poking out necessarily, but I don't trust my eyes that much. So I'm going to stand way back here as far as I can. Okay, boom, the exit's open. I'm out. Now, I didn't turn in anything, but what's more important to me is getting back to my kids than being tough and being in a hospital or being tough and not breathing no more. So, I mean, I think that another issue is that the news is only going to show those dudes who thought they were too tough. And then that's going to give everybody else the mindset that that's what it is to have a gun. So,
well, I mean, no, you're good. You're good. You're good. And so I'll say that every firearm has a purpose, has a use case scenario. You have something that you want to conceal. You have something that you want to open carry. You have something for hunting. You have something for home defense. Everything has a reason. Right. So, my first pistol that I ever got, I inherited from my dad. Was a Smith & Wesson STV 40, right? And I'm like, oh, this is cool. Yep, the two tones. Yep. and still got it and all that stuff. But I don't shoot it. But that was the thing that I went to, and it's I had this thing, but I sat with it. Never really carried it anywhere. I had some little BS holster or whatever for it, but it was that introduction to this, and like you said, you felt that as you got older, the need to first off make it home at the end of the day, and
Yeah.
number two, being able to be there for your kids. So I think as we all got older, we realized that our life wasn't about us anymore; it was about our family and being there for our family. So personally, I took that on as a, hey, I really need to. I have these things, but I'm not using them to my best of my ability right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I started off as a collector. Well, let me get this Kennick, this Kennick. Next thing I had like 4 Kennicks, and it's like, well, what am I doing with these?
Mm-hmm.
And what got me into like kind of starting to do things to them is I got one of these Kennicks, my SFX. I started modifying it. I realized that it was really like a race gun. So like, well, let me weight it down. Let me do this. Let me, kind of balance it out a little bit, blah, blah, blah. And I could feel the difference in when I was actually shooting something. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So your curiosity begins with that. And then, as I talked about earlier, going down an AR rabbit hole. And I believe my first AR, I got put some little Amazon optic on it and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
We've all
well,
done that.
it's gonna suck. Yeah, this thing kind of sucks. Um, then it turned into, well, you know what? I went down the rabbit hole of researching parts and things of that nature. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and build something. And one of the things that comes with building is patience.
Mm-hmm.
Patience in not just only learning to and putting a thing together once you kind of getting all the parts together, but actually sourcing the parts.
Yeah.
I have an AR down here that I've been sourcing parts for a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
It just took that long to find the right specific part that I needed and for it to come available and have it shipped or whatever, or forged or whatever the case may be. All in all, these firearms are the again, as I mentioned, they each have their own use case. The first firearm that I set out to build was not the first firearm that I actually built.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can show stuff on here or not or whatever, but
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so we gonna run. I wanted you to keep going, but we're gonna do and you can keep talking through it. What
cool,
I
cool.
wanted to do is first what you're carrying, a rundown of what you're carrying and why, because I think that would be good for. And I know you get this question because I think I probably asked you this question before, but I know you get this question a lot. If somebody sees you shoot a gun once, they assume you're that dude, and they're gonna ask you. You know the frat when they can't find you, they come to me. I'm like, listen, guys, I'm not what you think I am. I don't know what you think I am, but I'm not that guy. But they ask, so what should I shoot? And the first thing I say is, that's the wrong question you should be asking. I can give you like 3 or 4, feel
Mhm.
all of them out at the range, and then you decide. I shouldn't be responsible for what you're going to carry to protect your life. But I
Mhm.
was going to run through my carry, and I don't want to call it a build because it's literally a put together, but we'll call it build because build sounds cool. But my put together, because I haven't done a full build yet.
I got you. I
Done
got you.
two put togethers.
I
But
got you.
I'll go ahead and run through them now. My current carry right now cleared, no mag, cleared. I have it already locked back just because I've been I hear different things with YouTube as far as what's allowed. So I didn't want to actually clear it, but completely cleared. Glock 19. I want to say Midwest Industries is this skeletonized slide. Since I changed the slide, I haven't been able to get rounds to it because I haven't been able to get to the range or zero this red dot. But red dot was your suggestion. The Sealy Wolf Zero. Snap, the light just came on. This light, and I told y'all about this. I told y'all about a different one. I've changed it out since then. This is the Harbor Freight Braun. Harbor Freight did this. This is a clone of the TLR one, and it's like spot on. They had to take them off the shelves for a little bit, and it was literally just right here. The TLRs. I know they have that silver ring here.
Yeah,
That was the thing.
that
So
was
they
it.
took them off and put them back on the shelf. That feels goofy to me, but
But hey,
anyway.
you know what? Hey, as long as it avoid getting sued, hey, that's it.
Hey, and I paid less. I paid, it wasn't even half. It was like I paid a third the price of a TLR. So the one that I bought from like China or something that I paid even less for, I put that on another gun that I don't really use that much, but got that, and that's really it. I think the only other things, eventually I'm going to get a threaded barrel. Before I go doing compensator, all of that, I want to get rounds through this before I just add stuff to it. Because I haven't zeroed the red dot or anything like that, but that's that. This is the cool weather, because even though it's a 19, it's not a 17, it's not huge. It's still, I could go smaller. My carry prior to that, you knew this, was the 43X.
Mm-hmm.
Be my summer, my lighter clothes joint. I hate this. I won't say I hate it. I don't like this TLR6, but when I bought this, I didn't know what I didn't know exactly. I went for a Hellcat. And then the dude showed me, he was like, yo, you heard about the 43X yet? I hadn't even heard about the 43. He was like, the 43X. And then he said Glock. I was like, I don't have a Glock yet. So he got me to get this, which is a great gun from a concealment standpoint, but I didn't get the footprint. I didn't get the rail on the bottom because I don't even think it was out yet. So that's why I have this, because it snaps onto the trigger guard.
Sounds like it was an impulse buy.
It was definitely an impulse buy. It was a non-research, which again, you're learning. You learn as you go. It was a good buy. I will say it was a good purchase, but there's now a couple of aftermarket where you can screw a rail on, and I'll put a Olight or something on here. But I need to get a new slide. Yeah. So those are carries, and then again, it is not built.
That's fine. That's fine.
For everybody out there, it's a build, but I know you know better. It's not a build. You already know what I was going for. My favorite.
Yeah, I already knew it.
This is my favorite gun of all the guns I have. Let me try to get it all in the camera. My Scorpion. CZ Scorpion is the Evo 3 S1. I don't like the smaller one. I forgot what that's called. It's like a mini. I really didn't do much to this. I changed the handguard. This is it's either Pask or Pasky Sapper or something like that. Because I wanted it further out because it's slanted. The original one slants. I kept the original iron sights. I put a what was it? A Sig Romeo on here, and I took it off. With these iron sights, this is why I love this gun, because it makes it look like I know what I'm doing when I don't.
Like with the iron sights.
Yeah, these, and I didn't, like, somebody was like, well, at least put some flip ups on it. I don't need them. These are perfect. I might try to put some other kind of optic on here at some point, but this thing is perfect. Like, oh, and it's locked back. Everybody, slide lock back. No back. I changed out the grip just because those Scorpions come with the big bulky grip. It almost looks like it's a flare magwell, but it's just a grip. So I took that off. SBA, of course, folding stock. Folding brace. Folding brace. Guys, folding brace. Don't kill me. Don't come get it. And then the last thing I did was these come with really small charging handles. I kept this one on just so it could be ambidextrous, but I added one that was a little bit longer. And that's really it. And then I Cerakoted the top to this color because it was black. But only thing else I want to do, and I don't want to do nothing crazy. Only thing else is obviously change out the flash hider so I can put a can. Yeah. And I already know the can I want, but put that on there, and I might even change out these. They have a new slide release that's a little bit more. It's like up here instead of being right here.
Yeah, the mag release.
Yeah. This is a little awkward, but other than that, and then put an FRT on it whenever they finish developing the FRT for this, because it's in development now. But yeah,
force reset trigger. That's what he's referring to. For those of you out there who don't know what FRT is,
my apologies. Force reset trigger.
We go talking.
That's a whole nother thing, and Some of y'all are gonna get into guns at some point, and that's great. And you're gonna hear somebody next to you. It's gonna sound like a machine gun, and you guys are gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, is that legal?" It's not a machine gun. It is not.
One pull the trigger.
ATF, are you listening? It's not a machine gun. So it's literally one pull the trigger, like the man said. But anyway,
So
that's my thing.
So I'll start off with I have my Savior Equipment Obscura bag. These recently came out.
Let me jump in on that, man. I'm getting closer to. I like the ability to carry up there as opposed to carry in the waist, but I just can't get over the fact that it looks like a purse, man.
Hey
I
man,
can't do
look.
it.
So it varies. So like normally I appendix carry. Crazy, I actually appendix carry. But sometimes you're wearing like joggers or shorts or something like that, and what's in here is relatively heavy. So in here, I have my Mac 9 DS Comp 2011.
Nice.
With my TLR HLX on it, going with the Silent Chameleon for the optic. I've kept this bare bones, but it's heavy. It's steel frame 2011, 4.25 inches, and I actually appendix carry this thing. Right?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the rich dude here. This is what.
Man. Yeah, man. I just made some decisions in my life. So as you can see, it's clear.
Yep.
Clear. So it is it's heavy. I mean, it's an all metal frame gun, but the ergonomics of it, and I actually do ride with one in the chamber in it normally.
Yeah,
I'm very comfortable with that.
Same.
But this is typically this is really kind of it's kind of a winter gun
Right.
because it is heavy, and I would wear this either open carry it, or I'd actually I'm wearing pants. I'm wearing something that's like that's longer or whatever.
Yeah.
I like the back.
Did you change out the optics, or those optics ride that high already? I'm sorry, not the optics, the iron sights. Did you change those out?
So no, I didn't change out the iron sights. The only thing I've added to this was just a light and the optic to this. Switching out, I had to get aftermarket screws for this because the screws that came with the Mac 9, they kind of suck. So went ahead and got that. Yeah. Otherwise, switch that out. But the important thing, and Mo, you can attest to this, is that whenever you get a firearm, get you a good holster to it. Get you a good holster. People tend to find stuff on Amazon. Like, hey, I'm gonna get that. Nah, bro. You want something that's good and reliable. So I say that because, for example, I have a custom holster from this one's from QVO Holsters, who made the 2011, as well as my appendix carry. This was made by Insane Kydex. When you start putting stuff on your gun, you'll find that finding the gun slash light slash optic combination doesn't exist. So you have to go to all these custom holster makers, and they'll build you a custom holster. It just takes forever to get there.
Yeah.
But I highly advise getting a holster custom made. During the summertime, and I'm getting ready to switch this out probably within the next week or two, I tend to carry on my Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0. It's also 4.25. The reason why I like 4.25, both of these guns are 4.25, so whenever I'm actually like going through drills, I'm going with the same length of firearms, so it doesn't matter which season I'm working with. I know it's going to be in the exact same place. It could be the exact same everything. I can kind of, and they're both 9mm, so it's like I can anticipate recoil for that, all that good stuff. So they're very similar. It's just one's lighter than the other one.
Is that a performance, the 2.0?
The 2.0 is the performance center, for Smith & Wesson,
Rich.
See,
you buy an all metal, ladies and gentlemen. When you buy an all metal firearm, you're gonna pay for it. The 2.0 performance is an all metal firearm. That's for the rich gunners. So I just
but see, that's the thing. So like I save my money and I purchase I've researched what I want to get before I get it. So it's like, I could spend $499 on something, or I could spend $800 on something, but I know that $800 is I'm going to get more features and more things out of it than something else.
Right.
Which is why I got into building. Right now, I'm gonna have to say that. So we're getting into the builds real quick. So I'm gonna start by this is, and if you see this,
Yes,
this
sir.
is so this is a build
I've
that
shot that, so yes.
so you shot the original version of it. So I've rebuilt this. This is just a custom build, and I have not finished building it. This build has taken me a year and a half to still just get parts
Right.
from the lower to the type of barrel that I wanted, to the upper, to the, everything with this is just taking a long time for this. And I'm still not done with it. As you can see, there's no brace on it. And
Mm-hmm.
truthfully, it won't have a brace on it. I'm going to go through the paperwork to turn it into a short barrel rifle.
Oh boy.
As soon as I get that done. But started building this. It's work in progress. Like I said, this is what I started. This is the first gun I started to build. However, the first gun I ever actually built was Red Dog.
Nah.
Red Dog was
I
the
shot that too, didn't I?
yes, you have. Yes, you
Yeah.
have. That's the first gun I ever actually built. Right now, I can say that, as I said, every gun has a purpose. This is my it's clear. It looks like, well, if you look at it, you're like, oh, it's just a Palmetto State Armory
Right.
AR-15. But truthfully, the only thing that's Palmetto State Armory on this thing is just the strip upper and lower. Everything from the suppressor to the barrel to the springs to the optics to everything else is custom. Every part was sourced and built. And also, three position super safety, which is
Nice.
similar to the
FRT.
FRT.
Yeah.
And this is actually my home defense thing. As I said, I work with 300 blackout a lot of the time because it's something that's quiet. If something happened in my house, I can with the suppressor on it, I can hear, I can talk to
Mm-hmm.
my family, tell them where, like, hey, get to here, duck here, whatever. I can still communicate with them versus another caliber where sound bounces off of walls. You can't
Right.
hear anything, and you yourself can't hear anything.
Yeah.
So,
Because
it's
nobody's got
just
time to reach for ears when
right.
yeah.
Everybody, people are like, I'm gonna get this 5.56, or I'm gonna get this shotgun, or whatever the case may be, and that's cool. But when things go bump in the night, you're not gonna say, "Let me get my gun, let me get my ear pro, let me get my eye pro." You're like, no, you're gonna grab the thing and you're either gonna take cover or get your family safe and throw rounds down range. That's what you're gonna do,
Right.
uh, just to defend your family and yourself. Um, but I'll say that again, every firearm just has a purpose, and there's nothing wrong with having multiple firearms for the same purpose, just understanding that there are limitations for every single purpose. I
Yeah.
have 300 blackout. I love 300 blackout. I love the round. However, I also know that I'm not going to be able to reach out to, 700 yards with it. I'm not going to be
Yeah.
able to. Um, Given that I shoot subsonic ammo, I know that it's not necessarily going to penetrate all the way through these walls and these houses and go in another house,
Mm-hmm.
but it also moves slower too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is when you start just learning about firearms. Some people are like, well, I want to get the shortest barrel possible for something and have it look cool. Like, well, yeah, that sounds cool for a truck gun, but use case scenario in the house, you want something that you're more comfortable with and things that work for you. When I say that you're talking about guns and what you're comfortable with, I get a lot of flack for this. Uh, so it's another build of mine. Um, this is a 300 blackout. This is
Mm-hmm.
a 12.5 inch barrel 300 blackout. The thing that I get, and again, this can on it, I have suppressor on it, blah, blah, blah. Um, lasers, infrared, all this other stuff on this too. But the thing that I get a lot of crap about this gun for is that I have a 45-degree optic on it in a relative, I don't know if you can see it, so I'll hold it like that.
Yeah.
People are like, why do you have a 45-degree optic? Well,
Corners.
I've trained and cleared my house before, so I
Mm-hmm.
know that in order to peer around if I'm leaning against something, to peer around the corner, that particular optic helps.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes with the training portion versus just, oh, I'm getting something that looks cool.
Yeah.
You learn what's practical, what isn't practical. Like, oh, well, why do you have an IR laser on it? Well, one of the things that's coming in the mail is a DMT C200 optic, which is it's basically a night vision, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
I can see infrared through that night vision in this house when it's dark,
Instead
there's
of
use
turning on the
cases.
light and telling them where you at. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's use cases for everything. And we as a community, I don't say we need to stop just looking at stuff and thinking that's cool. I'm saying that we need to do our research to
Yeah.
finding out, though something may be cool, is it practical for the particular use case scenario you're thinking about?
Yeah.
You know, and that's where the discussion begins. We have great content creators out there, gun tubers, that do great things. I mentioned ATL Gun Club in Villa Rica. Paul's a very knowledgeable person. Sheldon, Colin, and Fred from We the People podcast. I've gone out and shot with these guys. These guys are very, very knowledgeable. There are just so many people out there that are really want to educate our community with this.
Right.
And we just have to, just take the time. First off, get past the fear that, because I don't know if you grew up this way. I kind of grew up this way. My mom always told me guns are bad. You don't need to be around guns. You don't need to have guns, all this other stuff. She also told me don't go in the army because they're going to send you off to war and die. That didn't happen. I deployed to some great places. But it's getting past that initial, what we were taught, and having us let's learn for ourselves. Let's experience for ourselves. Let's talk to people. I've taken some people at work who are interested in firearms, taken them to gun stores, and then they're like, what should I get? I'm like, well, depends on what you feel comfortable with. Let's talk about what's in your hand or whatever. Some people say they want to get you'll have a big 6'3" dude who says, hey, I'm gonna give me a subcompact to carry around. I'm like, bro, you need to hold a subcompact first, because you're gonna realize these two fingers right here not going to work on that thing. So I believe that, and and that's fine. That's what we're here for, is to help people come to their own conclusion rather than telling them what they want. So having and once you develop a community, because and interesting, I'm going to get into so I run a IG page called Diamond Gun Club. Diamond Gun Club is a gun club. It's for the noobs. But through this, though, I've come to find that there's an Alpha Gun Club, there's an AKA Gun Club, there's a Delta Gun Club. There are all these D9 gun clubs, and we're building our own community with this thing, which is actually pretty cool. And the whole purpose of this is with education. So it's all about education with firearms, education with being prepared, education for medical in these types of scenarios, and bringing that community together. It's beautiful to see. Surprisingly, all of us actually all go to ATL Gun Club, but and in itself, the whole thing, the way the whole gun club started was, I was going out shooting one day. Some frat brothers, some chat brothers were like, "Hey, why didn't you tell me you're going out shooting?" I'm like, "All right, then, shoot, I'm gonna go shooting out here. Then y'all come with."
Right.
You showed up. Benson showed up. A couple other noobs showed up. Before you know it, it's like, okay, there's people really, really coming in and shooting now. So we'll post the content, and then all of a sudden, you get the calls. Hey, so what do you think about this gun? And, noobs start hitting up about that or whatever, and they want to know because they can put a face, especially when it's somebody they know, recognize, to ask questions. Not just, oh, that's cool, but it's like, hey, how can I do what you did? And I'll go into the flip side of this, is that it's understanding the laws behind everything that we're doing too. When I was deployed, I actually read a whole bunch of FBI case files on firearm safety and the numbers per death, per capita, whatever, across the country over the course of 5 years. And come to realize that the majority of handgun deaths actually are suicide. They're not by murder or anything of that nature. And realize the demographic that was actually committing those. So it's conversely to what media will have you believe, we are very disciplined when it comes to firearms. And that story is not told. But that story is emerging now that this wave and this Black 2A culture is coming to the front. Being an advocate for the Black gun community, but also understanding the laws about adding something as simple as, how adding something as simple to this to an AR pistol can land you 10 years in jail.
Yeah.
Or having, the fact that, you just happen to just draw your firearm to scare somebody to go away, or you fired a warning shot,
Mm-hmm.
lands you in jail.
Right.
That's the thing that I think that the Black 2A community also needs to understand, which is equivalent to the training that we actually do. What are your laws? What are your laws in your state? Example, you can travel with firearms. You can fly with firearms. Um, Here in Georgia, we have our concealed carry, but knowing what states do not have reciprocity or recognize your concealed carry. More
Right.
importantly, if you were to say you're flying to, I don't know, St. Louis, and you have a connecting, or Phoenix, excuse me, and you have a connecting flight in New York, you can fly your firearm starting off in Georgia and declare your firearm. You have your layover in New York. You make sure you do not take possession of your suitcase while you're in New York
Right.
because your firearm's not recognized there. As soon as you take possession with that, you are committing felonies. So it's like, nah,
Mm-hmm.
airport, you hold on to this. You're responsible for it. You have the insurance for it. I'll pick up in Phoenix where I know my concealed carry is recognized.
Right.
Certain small things like that we need to know as a community, like, word, I can fly with this thing and become comfortable with it.
Right.
The Army talks about reps and sets. So, hey, get used to traveling with it, getting used to doing X, Y, and Z with your firearm. Get used to, honestly, just if you're trying to worry about carrying, just get you a holster and just walk around with it with your
Yeah.
with your gun. Just walk around and get used to the feeling of it.
Sit
These are
with
all things that,
represent.
yeah, just sit with it. I mean, because truthfully, yeah, if I'm appendix carrying, I'm gonna hack out my pants before I sit down, just because it's a
Mm-hmm.
comfort thing.
Yeah.
Um, I also have a little holster thingy in my car where I might take out my firearm and stick it in my door because it's easier for me to get to at the leg of my door than it is to
Right.
and do whatever. So,
Right.
reps and sets and training, we're gonna get there, but we've making some great headway. I feel like I've
Yeah.
just gone down a rabbit hole all over again. But
No, and I let it because it's an important conversation. And this podcast is all about rabbit holes, like nerd rabbit holes. I
yeah,
think even back to a point where you mentioned about teaching, or about what we were taught as kids. It wasn't necessarily from my parents because my dad had, and that again, we're gonna close up in a little bit, but I think from a learning standpoint, again, a lot of these things that do happen, and this is not just with Black families, this is with families in general. A lot of these, I think it was just maybe last week, a little girl here, I think she was maybe 3, mistakenly shot herself with a gun. A lot of that happens because the way I found my dad's firearm, I knew he had one because I remembered him talking about it. You from Atlanta, so you know the Wayne Williams thing. Well, when Wayne Williams, when that happened, I think that was like in 80. I wasn't born yet, but my sister was. So my dad, nobody, I mean, obviously it came out later. It probably wasn't him. It was probably the Klan or whatever. But either way, somebody was messing with kids and taking kids. So my dad bought and I have it now because he wanted a semi-automatic. I bought him semi-automatic. And then since then, he's into guns now, which I'm proud that I brought him into it. But he had was it like a 5-inch barrel 38 special, Taurus, which I love Taurus from a revolver standpoint. But anyway, he had that, but probably went to the range with it 2 or 3 times in 20 years. So, we went to the range a couple times. So it was never them teaching me firearms are bad, but it was still, he bought it, but there was no training to it because that wasn't a conversation that was had in our community about training with it. It was just there. If somebody does break in his house, what are you going to do? It wasn't loaded. So then when I was older and we moved to Illinois, I remembered conversations about it. I went looking for it because we never had that conversation. We never talked about firearms, what they could do, etc. I just know what I saw on TV. I went looking for it. And I told him this story. I found it. It was easy to find. It was in their closet. Opened it up. I put 6 38 special rounds in it. Closed it. There's no safety. It's a revolver. I'm in the mirror. I'm playing. I'm do. And then I think, I can't remember because there was no internet. I can't remember how I figured out how to get it open because after a while I was like, oh snap. How do I get these bullets out of here? I'm going to die. My parents are going to kill me. I figured out finally, I was sweating, how to get it out, but who knows what could have happened, which is why I feel like not necessarily like 8 and 9 or anything like that, but like there are other communities, I'm going to call them out, but there are other communities that are taking their kids to the range. They're taking their kids to at least to just sit and listen. Well, obviously with ear protection, but hear that pop so you don't get scared of the pop. Hear see the shooting, learn how to hold it. Some of these kids are getting scholarships for shooting.
Yeah,
So
they're
it's
aeronautical
like,
teams and everything too. Yeah.
yeah, I would love to. I had this conversation with my kid's mom, and she's still not sold on it, even close. But we were at a birthday party for my youngest daughter, and one of her friends, her mother, was sitting there talking. And when I was talking to her, because I knew her too through Jack, I didn't know that connection was there. But I'm talking to her, and she was like, "Yeah, my oldest daughter, is in shooting competition this weekend." I was like, "Excuse me, what's that?" And my kid's mom was there too. I was like, what
Yeah,
what
no,
you say?
no,
What'd you say? So she was like, yeah, she's in it. She learned a lot about it, and she has a respect for it, and it's a confidence thing because she's so good at it. Like it's like with anything else. If you're really good at it, it builds your confidence. And so I was looking at her like, and so she was, again, it's gonna take a little while, but I think,
yeah,
like you said, from a teaching and from a learning standpoint, when you take the mystery out of it, that there's now room for that respect for it, right?
yeah.
The mystery, it's all I have to go off of is what I see on TV, which looks cool. So let me put this in my hand and play with it, and let me go find it. And obviously, the knowledge was different then because my dad had it in the cardboard box that it came in. But now, my guns are in safes. They're in fingerprint
Mm-hmm.
safes. They're in
Same as mine. Yep.
places where, but at the same time, I let my kids see when we get in the car. I let them see. I take my joint with me. When I put it on the holder in the car down by my leg, like you said, I let them see that. I talk to them about it.
Mhm.
I would never like take them to the range without their mom being okay with it because that's a
Yeah.
line I'm across. But I still, they know where safes are. They can't get into them, but I don't want it to be a secret. I don't want it to be mysterious because I don't want them doing what I did because they may not be as lucky as I was to not have shot myself in the face with a 38 special. So
It's funny. I hear that story that it seems like everybody's kind of first ever encounter with a firearm, especially as a child, is a revolver. I mean,
yeah,
my
this
dad,
is
my dad
our
had a
generation.
32. Yeah.
Yeah. That generation was heavy with, they always say, and I don't know what caliber is a Saturday Night Special, but they always say Saturday Night Special like in the 70s. And I don't think
Mm-hmm.
it was necessarily a caliber. I think it was just a revolver. But for some reason, in the black community, if you had a gun back then, it was a revolver. It wasn't a
Yeah.
semi-automatic. Huh?
I mean, so you start looking at that, and you start looking at the. I mean, the revolvers don't leave cases around. I mean, fingerprints really weren't a thing back then, too.
Right.
But
Right.
it's just one of those things that it's small, it's easy, concealable, and all that good stuff. So you have your 38 special, your Saturday Night Special, your 38 special, 38 Super, 357.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had a 357 snub nose mag, and
Mm-hmm.
that thing hurts to shoot. But but that was the easy concealable thing. But I
Yeah.
think also with just how times have changed, things have modernized where um, we value more rounds over stopping capacity. We value modularity. We value just everything in general. Firearms has they've evolved in the past 30, 40 years, gotten to
Yeah.
where we are,
Yeah.
which is why we don't see so many revolvers now. Well, we
Mm-hmm.
still got them,
Yeah.
but I think that has a lot to do with it too. But with it, I mean, it's become also a content creator thing. Um, Firearms have always been a thing. It's just now we can showcase it more. But because we're showcasing it more, now people are showing interest in it.
Right.
From different standpoints, be it just for protection, be it for sport and recreation. They're coming from all over, and I think that the onus is on the content creator, the gun tuber, or whatever you want to call it, to post cool shit, but also post the safety behind it too. Post of like use case scenarios, post the training that you do. My algorithm is jacked up because it's always people at the range. They're doing this. They're running, CQB tactics and all this other stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just because I watch that stuff. I train for that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that the more and more we just have that knowledge, I mean, the more confident we're going to feel. And ironically, it's Atlanta, so there's guns everywhere. It's just like Texas. So,
Yeah.
so
Pull up a
you
rock,
like
you'll find a gun. Yeah.
it's the wild wild west out here. But if you've trained with something that can help you get home, give you that much more of a chance of getting home, why
Mm-hmm.
not?
Yeah.
Why not have it on you? Why not train with it? Why not be proficient with it? And you talked about wanting to train your kids with it. There are levels to that. I mean, there are plastic and toy firearms out there that very much are similar. I mean, it's something as simple as teaching how to effectively check to make sure it's clear. Things you can do to make sure if it jams or whatever, so you can know how to clear a jam. There's some kits out there where you can actually even learn how to build and learn to appreciate every little element of it, all before somebody's even put a magazine through and fired around. I think those talks should begin at a younger age. Just as like when we were kids, I don't know about you, but I was beat as a kid whenever I messed up or did wrong, and my mom put the fear of God in me, as well as my grandma. To some degree, you got to kind of instill that fear of God at the very young age of, here's this thing with this firearm. It's something that can kill you, but it's also a thing that can save you. And you develop an appreciation and a respect for that firearm at that young age, and just grow and go from there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Look, we might have to have a part 2, man.
Man, we gonna have to have a part 2, bro. I'm saying, man. You know what?
Now I'm thinking like I should have brought my 300 blackout, even though I don't shoot it. I should we gotta have a part 2. Man.
Next time you bring it out, I'm gonna let you see. I got like 3-4 cans. I gotta let you try on that 300, man.
Well, yeah. I'll ask you that afterwards. Well, because we'll go down a whole nother
man.
Brother, I appreciate you. For everybody watching, I'm going to make sure we put the links. I'm going to go through and scrub this everywhere that we told you to go. There will be links. I don't want y'all to just grab this for just this one little quick bit or a little quick bite. I want y'all to, expand. Do your research. If you're not even really into it, at least research these other pages that are even more knowledgeable than us. With regard to firearms and firearm safety and things outside of firearms, but that have to do with the safety of you and yours. Shout out to ATL Gun Club for sure. It's magnificent driving out there and seeing all this land that this black man owns, and it's top tier stuff. It's not just here's some dirt to go shoot in, but it's like thought out spaces for different things. It's amazing.
Versus targets, long range, short range, zeroing, the whole nine. It's like it's a space for us. And like I said, big shout out to Paul, who had the vision, put that together, and made it a central mark for shooters in Atlanta. For real.
And I didn't until you did it, until you said something about it, I didn't realize how popular it really was. And then I started, again, social media, you search one thing and start sending everything your way. It's like, oh, so-and-so that I know knows this place. Or I would start seeing like, I know this person. They shoot at the same place I've shot at. Oh, I know this person. So it's dope. It's very dope. Brother, Wolverine is the greatest of all time. Because I know what's your fan? You're not a Wolverine.
Well, say again.
I can't remember your. I knew it, but I can't remember your top person.
Oh, I mean that's like saying like what's your favorite caliber or what's your favorite gun. That's hard, man. Like right. But I mean, I am like honestly, and this is gonna be a caveat, but Batman with prep time.
Batman with prep. Man, look, we getting off of here. This dude.
Hey man, bro.
I'm getting so tired of this Batman with prep time.
Listen.
Crap.
Listen. Batman with prep time. He gonna take everybody because all he does is think contingencies, man. He thinks about, all right, what do I got to do for this or whatever. Now, okay, I'm gonna say it. You get a white man some money, he gonna figure out how to take you down one way or the
other. Here we go, Batman with prep time. Anyway, good sir. Before this thing cuts us off, appreciate you from the Blerd Brain Podcast. You are now one of the Blerd Brain friends. We're gonna have you back for sure. Again, I'm going to put all his socials as well as all the socials we talked about in this. Please be sure to stay tuned. We got more coming at you.